Hi guys, hello and welcome to another C# tutorial. In this tutorial, we will learn how to work with variables and display them. So to get started, I would like to create a new project in C# console app.NET framework. So this is pretty much about working with variables. So I'll just call this working variables 1 and let's get started. In C#, to declare a variable, you follow the syntax of first listing the data type. If you are familiar with Java or C++, it's very similar, followed by the name of the variable. And if you are planning on assigning it a value, you may put an equals. After that, you have to put a value. Okay, you put an equals to, and then you put a value and a semicolon, which is the end of instruction. So now if I were to declare a variable of type integer based on this, integer ID equals to 3456. Similarly, if I want to declare a variable of type string, which is to hold more than one characters, I will type string name equals to Saad. And if I would like to store a variable to hold a decimal value, I will use the data type double. So this is how you can be declaring a variable and initializing it with its first set of value. If you are to display the output to the screen, you can either write console.writeLine, or if you want to avoid writing console.writeLine, you can also type right at the top here using static console, system.console. So what it does basically, it helps you from having to write console.writeLine and console.readLine. After writing this instruction, you can simply type writeLine. And it will understand what it means. So if I would like to display my ID, so I will type ID, and this is a string that I will concatenate with my variable ID. Now for those of you for whom this is the first programming class, the concatenation operator is generally used to join a string with a variable, because variable holds a value in the memory and string is a literal string that goes out on the screen. Therefore, if you put the ID in double quotes, the second one, that will also go as ID as text on the screen, and we don't want to do that. We want to display the value held inside a variable, so that's why variables are not put in the double quotes. So this will be an indicator to the compiler to go and grab their value. Okay, now to hold the screen, I will just simply type here the read line or read, doesn't matter which one of the two you write. And this was just to hold screen when the output is running. Now these two variables are underlined in red, in green, because I haven't used them yet. Let me quickly show you how the output looks like. And as you can see over here in the output, that ID is 3456. And you can go by clicking this icon, you can go under properties, and then you can increase the font size if you want it to go larger. And probably, change the size of the window. Anyway, so this is how you can display one variable. If I want to display the other variables, I'll follow the same syntax. The only thing I will be changing is the variable name and the message. And as you can see now that I'm displaying all these values, one per line. Now let me teach you how you can combine these three instructions in a single instruction, because you do not need three instructions to produce 3 lines of output. So let me first put them together, and I can have concatenations going on the same line, a lot of them. So let me quickly add a concatenation here and then put these two items next to each other, and another concatenation here. I'm just selecting and overwriting. Okay, and another concatenation like that here. Okay, so for now, let me run this one so that you can see how it looks like. It just displays everything on the same line. I want to put them on separate line, for which C# gives us what we call a escape sequence character /n, which forces the item after the slash to go on a new line. So let me run it again. And now notice they all appear in different lines. So that's how you can be displaying the output on different lines. Now comes another question. Well, how about, is there a better way to display the output than just using so many concatenation operators? And the answer is yes, you can do that. We have a much improved version in C#. What we do is we write one long string with placeholders. So for example, this is where the ID needs to come, right? So I will going to be writing a one long string. Let me get rid of all of these extra concatenation operators, right? Let me get rid of all of them. And between each one of them, we're going to be putting a placeholder, which goes in like curly braces. The first placeholder is always numbered 0. The second placeholder is always numbered 1. And the third placeholder will be number 2 because the count starts from 0, so 0, 1, 2. Now, after you put in the placeholder, now you can put a comma and you can now start listing the variables. And this will do exactly the same job as our previous output. And this will display them on 3 separate lines. As you have seen, that we did not use a lot of concatenation operators. We just used one long string with placeholders, and we then listed the placeholders in the same order that we want them to appear in the code output. So that's all for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I will teach you how you can declare multiple variables of the same type on the same line. You do not need separate instructions to declare multiple variables of the same data type. Hope you would have enjoyed this tutorial. I will catch you in the next one where we're going to be learning about how to be working with multiple variables. And then we also need to be looking into how you can format your output in columns.